Oop, wrong thing. Oopsie. I'm good at this, right?
The best.
Hello and welcome. You all look like you're out of a mana there. Why don't you sit down, have a mana potion, and while we go over things that drain your mana, a bit of perspective as some of our healers have recently gone tanking. But first, let's introduce the healers that we have today. With me, before Holy was the flavor of the month, Milk Me Softly. How have you been?
I've been pretty good. How about yourself?
All right, I've been doing all right. Morin, our resident disco priest, how have you been doing?
Pretty good.
All right, and then Shamiren, my fellow recently converted healer to tank. How are you doing this fine evening?
That was the cheesiest intro I've ever heard.
It was meant to be cooler, darn it. It was meant to be cooler. I had a slight issue on my side, but all right, guys. Vera will be with us shortly as she works out her internet hating her guts, I guess. What has everyone been up to these past couple weeks? It's been another 2 weeks. Time to kill some bosses and heal up some empty green bars. Milk, if you want to start us off.
Oh, I mean, I've been progressing through regular TOT, having fun with some awesome and not so awesome groups.
Oh, God.
So I'll take it you have a few horror stories for us later then.
We had
talk about the hunter.
Well, we had a hunter who pulled 13k DPS and was gemming stamina.
Oh man, that sounds like it's going to be good.
We had a paladin who used Sacred Shield twice in a Horadon attempt.
He used it not at all in attempt.
And one of the
not at all. In her best attempt.
We had another hunter who he had only done LFR TOT, but he refused to get in Mumble because he didn't need it.
Those are personal favorites. Morin, how was your past couple weeks? Is your group doing all right in progression as well?
Yeah, I mean, we've killed Jinrook. We'll hopefully get Jikun tomorrow, and then we'll see. I mean, we messed around with Horadon a bit the other night. We can get to the third door, and then it's like LOL ads everywhere, so we have to work on that.
How many tries did it take before people understood that lightning balls are not good for your health?
A few. We figured out, well, first people were trying to just run around, but we figured out clumping up and just dodging left and right. Works a lot better because healers are more stationary, so we can heal and keep people alive, which tends to work a lot better than everybody running around like chicken with their heads cut off and face tanking lightning balls.
Yeah.
Right. And then Shammy, we've kind of already hit you a little bit. How about yourself? I heard you have a new grade group now that you're doing.
Yeah, we hopefully finally filled our group except for one DPS slot that I'm taking up this week on my shaman. But starting next week when I officially convert over to tank, and I'm sad about that, but I think we finally filled the group. I mean, I'd rather pug one DPS than four, but we actually pugged some cool people, and they were happy to come from the convert to raid guild over to become papayas and raid with us.
They're really pleasant people too, which is also a big plus.
Yeah, it's definitely a plus to find people that are not only like competent raiders, but are also fun to just talk to and hang around.
That's always good. You need those kinds of people for your progression nights and stuff when things get really rough. And then fashionably late, per usual. I'm just giving you a hard time, Vero. Our resident resto druid who enjoys killing people with her healing. Vero, how have you been these past couple weeks?
Better if my internet would stop going out.
Oh.
I yelled at them on Twitter.
So have you been up to anything recently? Killed many people with your healing or done some raiding at all on your priest?
Raided on my priest. We were hoping to down some more heroics this week, but unfortunately the attendance bug ate our faces, so that did not happen. But next week we are hoping to be 4 out of 13, and we are also recruiting, so yay.
That's awesome. We've also been suffering a bit of the attendance loss as well. We just went through our, I want to say, sixth disc priest within the past 2 months. Once again, can't handle a white knight, and we lose another one. So once again, we're actively recruiting. Yep, kaye.
Again? Jeez.
Yep.
What's with you and this priest, I swear?
Maybe you should just stop trying to get at this priest and get a holy one instead.
Hey.
Or what I could
Or I
do
should move
is
to
find a
this priest.
tank. I'll find a tank and I go Mistweaver, and all is well with the world. But
I don't know. I like that holy idea.
I mean, I did found, I have just founded a club with those of us who love our Holy Priest Co-Healers Club.
well, one of my healing alts is actually a holy priest. I raid with the Convert to Raid over Easy group on the mornings, and I raid as a holy priest because that's what I rolled as before as a monk.
That kind
I will forever have one.
It kind of sounds like an up-and-coming radio show. Over Easy in the morning.
It kind of is with my stream sometimes. But all right, guys, if you have any questions at all for the CTR crew, whether it be about healing,
CTR?
or I'm sorry, CTR. Ha! I've been watching too much Convert to Raid. The Out of Mana podcast crew, or anything personal, depending. Don't get too crazy with me here. But if you have anything personal, healing-wise, or even World of Warcraft-wise, or Final Fantasy, as some of us been playing, not Shammy.
Fuck you!
Feel free to ask. We will answer those towards the end of the show. We also have some announcements for all of y'all later on in the show as well, so stay tuned for that. But first off, we're going to get into one of our new tanking segments, since a couple of us have sadly been forced due to group needs from healing to tanking in a couple of our raids. Specifically speaking, myself, although this has been for a little longer, but Shammy Ren, you two have recently joined me on the wonderful quest going from heals to tank, and I'm sure you are super shocked. So for this next segment, that I'll from now on be referencing as From Tea to Brew, healing as a tank. What this is basically going to be is I'm going to go over strategies for bosses. So every 2 weeks or so, we'll go over 2, maybe 3 bosses, depending on how much time we have, and we'll kind of go over individual strategies that you, as a tank, can make a difference. But at the same time, I'm going to give pointers that you, as a healer, should probably be aware of, where a tank might end up taking a little bit of extra damage that you can help mitigate, so that you don't have unfortunate wipes, i.e. the tank just pulled the boss and you were picking your nose or something. So, but first off,
wait.
Go ahead.
First you call me out for not having a beta key. Then you make me sad for not being on my shaman anymore. Now you're calling me a nose picker? Man, why are you being so mean to me today?
Today is Pick on Shami Day. Sorry, we got the note about that. But
because Shaman got buffed, so we have to bring balance to the world. But continuing on, so since this is the first time we're doing this, go into a little bit of background for myself and Shami. I'll let you kind of go in for your situation as well. As some as you know, I was a Mistweaver monk up until a few months ago, and then due to issues with our roster, I ended up going Brewmaster. And I have been so ever since, to the point where I leveled another Mistweaver just so that I have one to heal in another raid. And I've been currently progressing at that. However, I found that I can still not get out of the healing mindset, and I've actually accidentally caused a wipe or two because I was sitting there staring at green bars trying to chi burst somebody instead of tanking the boss because my back was turned to him. Shammy, how have you been handling the adjustment yourself?
Well, I think because I'm a Death Knight, I really don't have any abilities to heal other people. So that kind of gives me a plus. But yeah, our Death Knight tank ended up having to go to Texas for we have no idea how long amount of time. So I got really tired of having to pug tanks and then have a alt from the first raid team of this guild come in on Sundays just so we could try to get some bosses down. So I figured, I trust myself tanking more so than I trust anybody that I don't know. And I just decided to gear my Death Knight. And I don't think I can really cause a wipe by trying to heal other people because, I don't have any abilities to heal anyone but myself.
You have bloodworms. That's what you have. And they
Yeah,
can be
but those are auto heal. I don't actually have to click those.
Right. And that'll kind of give us a different perspective because prop paladins and brewmaster monks can both kind of sort of heal the raid, whereas you have your other healers like, or tanks, not healers, guardian druids, prop warriors, and death knights who are more self-sufficient in that they don't really aid in healing. So I'll kind of have a perspective of I can help out healing, whereas Sham, you'll have more perspective. This is where I'm probably going to die. You should probably do something right here.
Yes.
So without further ado, we'll start off this with our first boss ever, Jinrock the Breaker. Some of you may know. Many of you have probably killed him by now. But every so often you might find that tanks are very intelligent creatures and they like to die to things that you never thought possible. And they're very creative in this sometimes. One thing I have seen some groups doing, and healers you need to keep aware, especially if your tanks are a bit slow on the taunt, is they like to stand in pools because they like that vengeance fapping. Because who doesn't like a good vengeance fap, right, Shammy?
No comment.
So whenever the static burst comes out, healers, you need to be on your toes, not only for the tanks, but for the raid itself, because once they take that static burst, hit that debuff, and it does additional damage, not only to your raid, because Dipwad tank decides that he wants to get high on the meters, but also because it's all going to do additional damage to the raid, to himself. Shammy, I don't know if you can comment on this as well, but during the lightning phases, and I'm going to go over for normal and for heroics, and some of us are progressing at different rates than others. For normal modes, and this actually does kind of to extent go as well with heroic, healers, make sure when the lightning storm ends, you pay very close attention to your tank, because he'll still be taking some of that ticking damage, and Jinrock's going to do a static burst very shortly after. That means if your tank's low for any reason, and this is particularly for heroic when you're doing the bouncing ball dance of doom, and people like to float towards them like freaking flies to a light, or moths to a light, I guess. You need to be aware of their health, because they might do a quick spike on you before he actually throws them. Sham, you have any other input for that?
Other than the one time I actually did it on LFR, I haven't actually gotten a chance to tank regular TOT. That starts next week. But it's quite funny to go LOL, heal back all the damage you just dealt to me as a Death Knight. Especially on Jinrook. I take a burst from that static and then hit a 5-stack Death Strike right off the bat and just watch my health bar go right back up. Makes me giggle.
And Shammy, would you agree that probably the best time that you'll want some sort of external cooldown from a healer or something, or even just a little extra TLC, would probably be right after the lightning storms?
Yes.
When you get that damage going out. So Disc Priest, prepare your pain steps. Holy Priest, Guardian Spirit, Shamans, you don't have a cooldown.
Spiritling Totem.
Spiritling can use it as a tank cooldown.
I just wanted to give Shamans a hard time again.
My Spiritling Totem I use as a tank cooldown all the time.
I guess it's not really good for much else sometimes, huh?
Unfortunately, also, Guardian Spirit has a chance to fail.
I've also noticed that a little bit on my Holy Priest is kind of hit or miss half the time.
And then as Void Shift, you could take the damage and they still die.
Right. There's the hardest boss mechanic is definitely the bugged out mechanic. And they happen everywhere. But alright, so moving along from Jinrock the Breaker. You've slain him, and now you get to face possibly the most difficult boss outside of Lei Shen until he was nerfed to the ground. But he still was quite a bit of a challenge for some of the newer groups. Good old Horadon, which is tank Barney over here and kill ads until about 10 minutes into the fight, depending on how much damage you do. So, Shammy, I know my group, we have our Death Knight tank the entire time for Horadon. And I don't know how your group makeup would do, but while you're tanking Horadon, could you see any potential times, like what stacks you think you'd want like some external cooldowns from healers?
The one time we actually had a Death Knight tanking Horadon for us, it wouldn't really get difficult until maybe the third or fourth triple puncture, if they were able to time their death strikes right. Because if you're able to time your death strike right after that triple puncture, you're healing a lot of that damage back to yourself, which is a nice thing.
All right, so you're tanking the boss. At what stacks do you think? Like, you might want to say,
probably,
hey, heals need a paint stop or something.
I would probably have healers really especially if you have Death Knight tanking, really watching your tanks around 3 stacks to see how low they dip. But I would start definitely using cooldowns around the 4th, maybe 5th. Depending on how well geared your tanks are and how fast ads are going down.
Right, and healers, I can't stress enough that if your tanks are going splat and they're not using their cooldowns, make sure you yell at your tanks. Because especially like Shammy said, after the 3rd or 4th one, the triple punctures will actually start being somewhat of a threat to their health, as more so this melee swing that comes directly after. So kind of just be keeping a track on that. If you have your own cooldowns, obviously help them out. And now, as on my raid group, I tank the ads the entirety of the fight. And so a few big things is sand traps on the first door. Kind of just priest, keep that life grip button ready. Because if I get too busy throwing beer out to everybody like it's freaking Mardi Gras, and I might get myself caught up to some sand traps because I can be a very bad panda sometimes. And then those debuffs do affect tanks as well. And this is more notable in the third door. Because the taunt does actually work on those ads for a few seconds. As a tank, I can take them for a few seconds, but kind of keep an eye on my disease count, because if I get a couple of them on me for some reason, and I'm tanking a couple of those ads, I'm certainly going to need an external cooldown from you, and just that little extra bit of tender loving care that you guys oh so graciously give me.
I have to say, one of the worst things that I hate about the Horde on fight is when a tank gets stunned and it doesn't get cleansed. Expect on that first door.
Right, that's definitely something to keep an eye on.
No tank is able to mitigate as much damage as they should be when they're stunned. They can't use any of their cooldowns. They are literally stuck there. And that stun is like an 8-second stun. So that's 8 seconds that they're either just being wailed on by ads and not using any of their cooldowns, not using any of their healing abilities, or 8 seconds where ads are just running free and just, eating the faces of whoever has the next highest threat, which in some cases could be a healer.
Right. Keep in mind, healers, that if your tank gets stunned for any reason, any of their active mitigation or their mitigation, i.e. dodge and parry, is no longer in effect. So if he gets stunned and for some reason dispels are slow, your dispel's on cooldown, he's going to need a little extra love, because otherwise he will go splat in a heartbeat.
When a tank is stunned, our only mitigation comes from our armor, and
for some tanks that's more than others. Brewmaster monks are, that's why, but Shammy, you and I are kind of lucky in that little boat. Your Icebound Fortitude will break stuns and make you immune to them for a bit. And I have I can't think of the name. Nimble Brew, thank you. That's my stun break as well. But not all tanks have that, and you as healers need to be aware. Yell at your DPS to interrupt, stun them, something, but make sure that your tanks aren't staying stunned prolonged amounts of times. Ads are constantly flowing, and it's part of your job to make sure that your tanks are A-OK so they can keep picking up ads.
And you also run into the issue of they get stunned in the middle of a sand trap.
Right.
Which not only are they going to have the ads beating on them, but they're going to be having the constant damage from that sand trap.
Right, and then second door. Again, more puddles, because obviously there's not enough on the ground in this fight. Those green puddles are very random, they're very annoying, and they like to spawn under melee and tanks. So not only just tanks, but keep a little extra eye on your melee, because there's not a whole heck of a lot they'll do. They will start just crushing your melee, and heroic more so, where it'll basically two-shot them. So just kind of keep an eye out when those Venom Mancers drop down, and they've already cast their first Venom bolts, because they're going to send those out soon enough, and you don't want your melee to be caught in it. Again, life grip. It's more than just for griefing priests, I promise you. Save a tank or a DPS.
But it is fun to watch, someone life grip on the bridge and then have that person a life grip just kind of fall off the edge.
As it always is. And then third door we already kind of covered. Just kind of be aware of your tanks with their disease debuffs. If you're that lone priest or paladin or monk who can dispel, and you're with a druid or a shaman and they have nothing else for it, and you can't help it, that's also another really good time for an external on your ad tank, because they will be taking those mortal strikes and they won't be able to be healed effectively until they're gone. If you're a monk, you can also disarm them with a Ring of Peace and your personal, so kind of keep that in mind as well to help out your tank a little bit. And then the fourth and final door. So we've killed 3 tribes of trolls, and now we're here at probably one of the more annoying ones, only because of the cleaves from the bears. So make sure you're not in front of where the tank is standing, healers, because we're going to probably be running all which ways trying to pick up ads and whatnot. So just kind of be aware. Keep an eye on your Hordon tank. But here's the big thing for you. I want that you as a healer and kind of on your tank you want to watch out for as well. The curse that those shaman put on affects not only the tanks but you as well. And whenever you cast or your tank attacks, and mind you, active mitigation is a very big thing now. So your tanks can be very active to keep themselves alive. Is they might take some extra damage from that curse proccing. Shammy, I don't know if you have any experiences with that, even in LFR kind of kicking the crap out of you.
Not yet.
It's fun, promise you. You'll have a wonderful time with it. But and then you've obviously got the Firecaster sitting there blasting the crap out of everybody. And then the final part of it, Jalek. So Jalek's going to come out and he's going to wail on one of your tanks. Shammy, you've probably done this on LFR, and he actually does start to hit hard after the second or third Bestial Cry. So after that, you'll want to start looking at using cooldowns, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you have something left for Hordon when he rampages. He hits hard. Shammy, LFR, he probably still hits kind of hard. I haven't done it in a while. If you could let me know.
I mean, he hits harder than he does during the actual fight, but not
It's
as hard.
unmanageable.
Nothing that's unmanageable, as long as you're paying attention.
Right. In normal and heroic, more so for heroic, but in normal heroic, he'll come close to 2 or 3 shotting your tank depending on how their dodge and parry streaks. I know on heroic mode, it's just basically watching my health bar yo-yo back and forth through the entire thing. It's actually kind of fun, and Vengeance is wonderful. But again, kind of like what we were discussing earlier, about 4 stacks is when you're going to want to look at any external cooldowns with your fellow healers if you got them. Keep a close eye. If your tank dies, you've got Barney who's extremely angry that you killed Baby Bop and friends, and you don't want him running all over the place eating you. Sham, you got any last notes for him on Hordon?
I forgive you for your crappy intro now.
All right.
Work in progress.
Work in progress. We'll kick the bad monk and we'll find a replacement. Looking for Disc Priest who can host. But all right, I think I've run my suck enough, and next time, hopefully, Shammy, you'll have a bit of insight for us as well from your point of view. I wish your team best of luck in that and your tanking ventures. Yeah, you're one of us now. But so we're going to move on over into healing horror stories. Who would like to give us the start one to begin this?
Well, I was doing a dungeon the other day on my shaman, because I don't really want to completely give up my shaman for healing. And I had a DPS, stood in bad, and died. Now, when a DPS stands in bad in a dungeon, I am very adamant about you get 1 Riptide. If the Riptide doesn't keep you alive, I'm sorry, it's because you're an idiot, and I have no remorse. But, of course, as soon as this DPS dies, the first thing he asks for is, hey healer, give me a B-res. Now, unless Blizzard has added a Shaman B-res into the game that I am unaware of, which is very possible because I haven't really read Shaman notes for a little while, I don't have a B-res.
Yeah, sure, let me swap to my other tune and B-res you.
So as I was politely telling him, I don't have a B-res, he's like, you're just a noob, all the healers have a B-res, blah, 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 blah.
Don't you know you're supposed to stay out of combat so you can res them, Shami? Come on, man. How long have you been playing this?
So I find it funny how people just seem to think healers are still, to this day, are gods. I mean, we can't all be as good as Joe, who one heals Horde on regular.
It's not hard. Everybody could do it.
I don't think a shaman could.
There's no damage. You could.
With DPS how it tends to be in the groups nowadays, especially with how much gear a lot of people have, the ads, and they just recently nerfed Hordon, if you didn't notice. They nerfed his ads by another 20%.
Because I don't think it requires any healers now.
It just requires more prop paladins. That's all you need.
Or Blood Death Knight on the boss at the entire time.
Right? So Blood Death Knight's a tank healer, and then a prop paladin's the raid healer. Good.
Yeah.
We're ready to go, guys. Normal modes, here we come. 8 DPS, 2 tanks. We got this.
Well, Group 1's Prop Paladin does make Joe overheal by like 60%.
He overheals more than me, though. So, as long as it stays that way, I'm okay. But I still think he should be kicked out of the guild if he doesn't remove the glyph. They're nerfing the glyph in 5.4, though, so I'm happy.
They've already nerfed it once, too, if that says anything to it.
Yeah, well, they're nerfing it again where it's not the same as it is now. It, like with Seal of Insight, it heals a low health target, but not the paladin. So, yeah.
All right, so does someone else have a nice story, or I have a quick one if nobody else does for the second. If you want to rack your noggins real quick.
Or if anybody in chat has one that they want to tell us, you can always email it to us, and we'll be happy to read it over the air.
So my guild this week, we have begun progressing on good old heroic Darumarumarumaru. Lots of fun there. Lots of fun with the life drain, healing the boss for about 50 million. Just all kinds of love and happiness, let me tell you. But we just got a new disc priest this week, and this is the story of, I think, why. And he was wondering why we had 3 healers in our group. And yeah, it's definitely 2 healable fight. We're 1 tanking it. I'm stuck windwalkering for it. I don't know why they don't just make me go heals, but whatever. Another day. But so we're 3 healing it, and he's like, why are we 3 healing it? And my GM points out to him, he's like, well, the tank keeps dying during the colorblind phase. He's like, oh, well, I don't know what's happening. You just die. Go back in logs and look at it, and, well, turns out all he's doing is atonement. Because, atonement's the only way to heal as a disc priest. He's throwing shields out from time to time, but so we give him this wonderful idea. It's like, hey, why don't you try, I don't know, tossing a heal on the tank from time to time. I know it's not optimal, but maybe the tank needs a little something more than a smite. I don't know how you feel about that, Morin, as a disc priest as well.
No, obviously if somebody needs a heal, then you give them a heal. But if he doesn't want to heal, he could have stacked Spirit Shell on the tank. It's usually used for AoE, but if the tank is the one that's dying, it might be best to put it on him.
And with as high as a Spirit Shell can go up, I'm pretty sure it would have prevented that tank from dying.
But yes, you can. If somebody's dying, he should have penanced and then greater heal if he had time and flash heal. You don't sit there and just spam smite when the tank is dying.
No offense to this priest, because I know, you do a lot of your healing and AoE healing from your atonement. But
Yes, but you don't sit
seen,
there and watch somebody die while
exactly,
you're smiting.
And I've seen a lot of this priest very adamant about never using a direct heal at all, even when someone's about to die.
I say I never do just because it's very infrequent that it's necessary, but
right.
I don't sit there and watch people die.
Exactly. When you're not a disc priest like a couple that I've seen, that when the need arises is you just sit there spamming your smite button, watching your tank's health just drop.
Yeah. No, I don't do that. But like I said, if the tank's dying, he could have used Spirit Shell as a tank CD, but whatever.
We don't use no tank CDs around here, you understand? We just let... if that smite won't heal them, they're going to die no matter what we do, you understand?
Oh, God.
But anyone else have a cool little story sharing the love and happiness?
Is Vero even here?
I think she's DC'd or something.
No,
Or
here.
do you not love us,
story.
Joe?
She's just being very quiet.
You don't love us, Vero. I see how it is.
Yes, I do. I just don't have a story.
That's my horror story
people,
this week. I was rejected by Vero. She wouldn't give me a story to go to sleep to tonight.
Because I don't like you. Not enough boobies.
I did, on my tank, have a healer use Pound YOLO at me.
Wait, use what?
Well, I had commented, the person wanted me to, like I mentioned earlier with you guys, they wanted me to pull more groups on my druid tank, but my health was zigzagging so often I wasn't comfortable with it. And I'm like, well, I'm afraid if I pull more, I'll die. And they're like, well, Pound YOLO. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, God.
That's just no. That's just not right.
The more you pull, the more vengeance you get, and the more vengeance you get, obviously you die, because obviously you'll kill things faster. Health bar? What's that? That's a healer's concern. I don't need your stinking health bar. Ah! Oh wait, we're
Yeah.
all healers here, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was a little annoyed after that, but whatever. Just kept on going at my pace, not theirs.
Whenever there even now on my death knight, as I try gearing him, whenever somebody uses pound YOLO on me, because I don't want to go faster because I don't think they can keep up, it makes me go slower.
You know what it stands for, right?
You
You
only live once.
obviously lack originality.
I like that. I mean, Sam, you know what you need to do? So you need to get geared like my monk is, so you can just pull the entire instance, but then realize about 7 or 8 mobs stun you, and then just get absolutely crushed because you're stun chained, and then your healer goes WTF, and I'm like, oh, well, I did what you wanted, but I got stunned to death, and you
One of
couldn't keep me
my
up.
I have to admit, one of my favorite things to do on my death night, I was doing a heroic scenario last night, the Crypt of Forgotten Kings, I think it was what it was, and I was just having fun. It was Milk and someone we plugged out a trade, and I would target her, and I would use Gorfine's Grasp,
And you're an ass. By
and
the way, I hate you.
I would
This
do
is
it,
why you're getting picked on today.
I would do it like when the mob would like whirlwind so that she's stuck there with the mob whirlwinding on top of her. And
Just
it
start a
made me
cast.
giggle. And all of a sudden the things are
I hate
in
you.
his face, her face. It's
I hate you. You're getting teased more.
Milk's- I love you though, Mil.
I have a Final Fantasy beta key and you don't.
Oh, I have one of those too. Who else has one
Me
that
too.
doesn't?
I have an Elder Scrolls beta key.
Who cares about that
Who
game?
cares?
Final Fantasy. Hey, chat room. Who else has a beta key so that you can let Shami know that you don't have one? Let us know. I'm curious.
See, now I'm just gonna go cry.
See,
Good,
you
your
kind
tears
of
feed
deserve
us.
it sometimes.
But this is just cruel and unusual. Isn't there like a law against that?
No. This is the internet. Anything goes. And by internet rules, there's also a porn about it.
Indeed.
Someone was supposed to actually give me a beta key, but he still hasn't, so.
Perhaps you should ask them then instead of complaining to us.
He's not online.
Or sacrifice them to Horadon so that maybe some poor
that.
healer can get their trinket.
I'm never going to get my trinket. I've decided it doesn't exist.
Our healer got it first roll attempt.
God.
Thunderforge version of it, too.
My baby
I told
monk
my
has a
guild if
Thunderforged one.
Thunderforge Heroic drops, I'm going to cry. Like, tears will be shed. And if someone else gets it, things will be thrown.
It's okay, Vero. I wish I could just pat you on the shoulder for how much I feel bad. Have I mentioned that I bonus rolled mine while I was tanking?
I hate you.
Wait, you bonus rolled
They
a
said
heroic?
if it drops off Heroic
Not a
next
heroic
week, I get
Thunderforce,
it.
but I have a heroic Horadon's Last Gasp on Blue Blue. And I'm never going to use it, ever, probably.
I'll take it.
I think I've told 3 healers I'd give it to them if I could, possibly.
Yeah, they told me next week they'll give it to me if it drops. And I was like, you freaking better. Unless I will rage so much.
We've already had to promise our Resto Druid in my Convert to Raid group the trinket. Because our swing healer won it last time, but he gave it to me. And she kind of wasn't amused by that at all. But she gets it next time because she's not a swing healer of any sort.
I just want to point out, and even though this doesn't have anything to do with the show, if anybody has an extra beta key for Final Fantasy, I will happily take it off your hands.
Oh, that's funny.
But all right, does anybody else have a quick story for us, or are we ready to move on in this wonderful show of ours?
I said we move on.
All right.
It's getting
So,
late.
some of you who may frequent the forums have noticed a lot of very special individuals saying some very special things on our special block of the forums. So in this next segment that we call What Really Drains My Mana, we're going to be going over a couple of the happy things that just, when we see, just drains us of everything that makes us wonderful and happy, like our poor friend Winifred has experienced due to form happiness.
Winnie, I love you and I miss you.
So what really drains my mana is when 6 Flavor of the Month threads pop up on the forums within 3 hours of each other.
We've all established it's blood decays for all the threads.
No, it's marksmanship hunters.
I think Milk and I argued this on which hunter was the best healer
Yeah, I said BM, you said marksman.
because of the stupid spirit pet.
Yes. It's so cute, though.
I just get really annoyed because they sit there. I can understand there be one flavor of the month thread because it's going to happen. But having 6 pop up within, 2-3 hours of each other, that's a little much. And it just goes to show that people aren't going there to actually read. They're going there to complain.
Well, no, they're so special that they themselves deserve an individual thread dedicated to their awesomeness, because why should they read some other peasant's thread? It's not theirs. Who cares? I want to know.
So that we can keep our sanity?
You're saying, why do I care? I am me. I am awesome. I do what I want.
Because if you don't care, I will find you and I will sick milk on you to eat your soul.
I have many. They're plentiful.
But yeah, there has been a quite the rise. Just to get the word out there, guys, at the very top of the healer forums, there's a sticky dedicated to helping you pick a healer.
And the thing is that sticky is updated. When things change, the sticky gets updated. So you don't need to post a thread every time.
So please save us some heartache, guys, and read that before. And I'm pretty sure there's discussions that go on in that sticky too, so if you have a question on there, I'm sure it's okay to ask there. But when the first 6 things I see are which healer should I pick? I'm rerolling healer, what should I have? The off-topic thread and all of its glory.
5.4 is coming up.
5.4.
What healer is going to be the top?
Yeah, too many of those. So let's keep it clean, guys. Our forum's a happy place where we should try to be helping each other, not aggravating each other.
See, and I don't mind if they sit here and are like, if I see a thread like, what's the difference between this class and this class? That doesn't bother me. It's when they're sitting there and they just want to know what healer's the strongest just so they can play it. When you know that once that healer isn't the strongest, they'll be back to complain.
Yeah.
Okay, mana, so what's your turn? What really drains your mana?
Me?
Yes, you.
People being dumb and saying this priests are weak.
I guess you haven't seen the hunter that says this priest at the bottom of the charts?
I saw that, and that's kind of what I was referencing. That irritates me. Badly.
You know what drains my mana?
What?
Drain mana. Anyway, shaman threads in general.
Pun.
Shut up. Shaman threads in general. I hate them. I hate them all.
Is there a specific person that you might want to direct your love to?
No. I guess I should generalize more. My class will be broken next year. Those annoy me.
Yeah. It's not shamans now. What's it now? Well, it's mainly the one druid. Yeah.
Because so early in patch, or so early in beta, it's just kind of like, stuff's going to change. Chill out.
I mean, you have to realize that we're only in the first month of PTR testing, or a month and a half. There could still be a lot of changes. As of right now, nothing's set in stone. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, the best way, if you really want to make a difference on your class, guys, if you have a great complaint about it, is get on that PTR. Test some of the changes out. Do some of the raid testing so you have some kind of a basis for what's going to be happening, and put actual really good feedback on the PTR threads. There's a lot of really good threads ongoing right now, and the blues are listening. They are responding. Don't just say, my class is broken because of this. If you really want to make a good thing, and I've been getting on a couple Windwalker monks about this on the PTR thread, is this is what I don't like because of this reason. This is what I suggest to maybe make it better. And that'll help them infinitely more than just you complaining ceaselessly how your class is broken.
Exactly. Just by sitting there and complaining, they're not going to want, or saying that you don't like this but not having good solid reason to not like it or to back your reasoning up, is not going to make them want to change or look into it at all.
So Vero, do you have anything that drains your mana?
Basically everything you just said. Oh, and when I'm in a battleground and I read, WTF, we have no healers, while I'm, doing like 20 million healing done and we've only been in there for 10 minutes.
It's like,
That's
no,
when I usually say, no, we don't. Clearly, I am resto DPS. Sorry, guys.
Well, Vero, when you have a killing blow, they can't really call you a healer. I mean, Nature's Vigil, OP, come on.
I don't even use Nature's Vigil. Screw that. That's weak sauce. But I've actually ended some where I was top heals with, teetering at 20 million and had like 5 kills. And I was top kills. That's even better.
My
As a
favorite
healer.
thing. See, my favorite thing is whenever I do venture into a battleground on my shaman or my disc priest or whatever, and I sit there and I'm escorting the flag carrier, and I just get chained, stunned, and CC'd and just destroyed. And then the flag carrier dies, and the first thing out of his mouth is, "What the WTF heals? You suck." It's like, no, your healer was back here getting his ass kicked. Nothing I could have done.
All right, Morin, I am sure you are a wealth of things that you could go on and on about. I want you to pick your favorite, though. What drains your mana?
I already did. I said people complaining that disc priests are weak are going to be the bottom healers going into 5-4. That's annoying. Anything bad involving disc priests annoys me. Bad disc priests annoy me. Other disc priests annoy me. Nobody wrote disc
Aw.
priests. You're probably annoying me. No, I'm
Aw,
kidding. Vero
man.
doesn't. Vero doesn't annoy me.
Yay. Why? Because I don't just sit there and smite spam.
Yeah. Other ones, the bad ones, the kind that LeBlue mentioned, they annoy me.
All other healing priests annoy her.
No, I dislike the ones, well, there's like two sides, two sides of the ones I don't like. The ones that think, I rolled a healer, so I'm going to heal, I'm not going to DPS at all. And then the other ones that, I'm a DPS healer, that's all I'm going to do. And you can't be as effective as you could be and you should be if you don't use both as the situation demands. And either side that completely ignores part of what they should do, could be doing to help the group not die, irritate me.
She also isn't a big fan of other female gamers, save for
No.
a few.
I like, no offense to Vero and Milk because I like them, but...
What about Tyrael and Winnie?
And therefore, well, I was just mentioning the people actually here, but yes, Tyrael and Winnie, most of the people, all the people that I knew are female, are fine, but the ones that play WoW because their boyfriend or husband plays WoW and they're terrible and nobody tells them they're terrible because they're the raid leader or GM's girlfriend, irritate me. Lots of things irritate me.
That annoys the hell out of me too.
It's,
I had one in a previous guild.
Yeah, and I've had to deal with it before and it's extremely frustrating.
You reminded me of another horror story though.
Rihanna wants me to tell you that sometimes she irritates me too.
Today you said that you didn't like
All right, hey, so if some of you noticed, we had Suplift, a fellow Mistweaver monk, join us. How you doing there, Suplift?
And
You
How you
are
doing there,
coming in
helicopter?
staticky, buddy. You are Mr. Robot, Suplift.
Oh, that was
There we
hung
go.
up.
So, Suplift, what makes you a very sad panda bear?
Oh, you gotta say what drains my mana? I
What
can't.
Yeah,
drains
what
your
drains
mana,
your mana?
Suplift? What drains your mana?
Well, nothing. I'm a Mistweaver monk.
But I'm...
Well,
But
what makes you a sad panda then?
any thread that Venom Heart comments in.
Oh, is it, so it's not just me? She, it
Can I have some of the sour things?
needs to go away.
I want some sour balls.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. So.
Today Molly told me she didn't like me. She did.
Man, we're just getting all the dirt on you today.
Oh, Rihanna.
I'm assuming that falls along the line of more complaint threads, Sutcliffe.
No, not
No.
really. I don't
See,
mind.
He doesn't really complain. He just is
He tries to act like he
very
knows
stupid.
everything when
very,
he knows
very
nothing.
Stupid. Pretty much, yes. But no, I agree with Sup. He irritates me too.
Suck, yo!
All right, and then I guess I'll round this one out. Mine's more recent and personal. Well, it's not recent, kind of, sort of, because we've been having this happen for ages. What really drains my mana is when you recruit somebody and they decide that after about halfway through the week, they don't just say, "Hey guys, I don't click. This isn't my thing," and bounce. They just bounce at 3 o'clock in the freaking morning and leave guild, transfer, whatever, and leave us just high and dry for the rest of the week. Because we just lost like our 6th disc priest in 2 months. Freaking going on, and it's getting really, really obnoxious.
You know what your issue is?
We're looking for disc priest. Right. That's the common denominator here. Ignore the fact the common denominator is my guild. It's obviously disc priests.
You have the same issue with this priest that we had for a while with warlocks, though we do have a warlock now, but it's our Death Knight switch to a warlock, and we're like waiting for a meteor to hit Bolivia or something and kill him because that's our luck with warlocks. But it hasn't yet, so maybe we're safe.
I'm so telling Chopin you said that.
Chopin knows. We told him that when he first said he wanted to switch, we're like, are you really sure you want to do that?
Do you want one, Joe?
I want one.
So yeah, guys, do your fellow healers, raiders a favor. If you really don't like a guild, if you don't like raiding with them, just be civil about it. Just say, "Hey guys, thanks for having me. Didn't work out. I'm gonna look for greener pastures. It just isn't my thing." Like, don't just ninja out. I hate it. It annoys me, and my GM's about to strangle his neighbor's cat, and it makes me very sad because I love kitties. But just kind of keep that in mind.
If your GM
treat people
strangles
well.
his cat, I will find him and I will eat his soul and make him unable to raid. And then you'll have to lead that raid group.
I pass. Dissolved. But all right, guys. So that's that for that. Next up, since everybody loves their flavor of the month so much and it's such a popular thing, we're going to join in on this too. So now we're going to go with the podcast flavor of the month. Which healer alt have you been playing, and what healer have you been enjoying as of late? So we'll start off with Shamiran. What healer have you been toying with that you've been thoroughly enjoying?
My blood DK.
The greatest one of them all.
Well, considering since Tuesday I went from a 453 item level to a 483 item level, I have been just spam running heroics and everything that I could just because I needed to get the gear so I can get into the, at least not get one shot by things when I'm tanking.
Not getting one shot to the...
Yes, but if I had to go by other than my shaman, what's my favorite healer, it would probably be my resto druid. Mainly because I can now do the tree dance again.
I will admit I too am guilty of recently my main healing alt outside of my holy priest and my baby monk that have actual raid teams. But I've been toying with my resto druid quite a bit too, Shammy. I've been really enjoying her, surprisingly. Considering at Cataclysm I tried to play her and no bueno. It was a no-go. I was so bored as a resto druid.
I'll admit that I'm guilty of slash dancing in the middle of shrine as a tree and then AFKing for 10 minutes.
Did you at least put a campfire next to you?
My druid actually doesn't know how to
You
cook.
can't make a campfire?
Nope.
You just
I'll
break
just make a
break
campfire. I
off
don't even
a
need
part of
anything.
your bark. Break off your bark. You put it in some fire, or you find a mage and tell him to light it. There you go.
I carry wood on me for just that reason, to set trees on fire.
Yeah, I've done it on my shaman. I'll go into a group as a DPS and I'll see a resto druid in their trend form, and I'll just light a fire underneath them and watch as they walk around flaming for a while.
I do it to my co-healer all the time if he goes into tree form.
I see a tree in Alfar. Fire.
So, Milk, as the Master Priest healing spec, have you been toying with any other healer alts or anything? Or even other alts in general?
Well, I've been contemplating gearing my Warlock, but aside from that, I'm having some fun on my Shaman. My Shaman Stragomegus.
Is that because he struggles with spread mechanics?
No.
I mean,
Final
that was
Fantasy
horrible.
reference.
Shambi got where I was going.
I got it. Hence the chuckle.
He's my dwarf mage, or not, sorry, dwarf shaman.
So you can light your own fires too, so that you can chase around Shammy's druid.
Well, when he deserves it, which is basically all the time.
When you gotta light a fire under his butt. Morin, have you been playing with any healer alts, or even alts in particular that you've been enjoying outside of your main raid times?
Well, I'm leveling a second Miss Weaver because I cheapened it for my other 90. But other than that, that's pretty much what I've been doing. But as far as playing, I'm looking forward to the changes to Paladins in 5.4 because my Paladin used to be my favorite alt and Cataclysm. And I'm looking forward to playing her again. 5.4 once isn't as overpowered as it is now.
You mean you don't like Eternal Flame Blanketing right now? That's like the most fun thing ever.
I hate it with a passion.
I'm sure there's many paladins who are crying sweet, sweet tears of goodness that they're being nerfed in that aspect.
Good. Their tears sustain the cries of shamans. That's what Shaman's Riptide, did you know that the Paladin tears are what the Healing Tide Totem's actually made of?
I thought it was just priest tears. Or is that what Riptides are?
That's what Riptide is.
Vero, have you been playing any alts in particular? I know you have a priest and a druid you play with, but anything else?
Well, I was trying to gear up my monk for PvP, but Horde is fatties, so I started leveling DK again.
More DKs, the master healing race, truly.
Basically, this is like my third one that I actually have not deleted. And I've probably leveled way more than that.
That's pretty crazy. And then Suplift, are you playing any alts, or are you just spinning to win all the things still?
I'm leveling my priest for an alt run.
How's that going? Are you enjoying it?
It reminds me of Zeal Weaving Atonement back when you used to Zeal Weave, but I also have to play my Paladin for my guild's progression because we're doing like a split alt run kind of thing. Like you would put like 5 mains in X groups so those mains can get all the gear they want.
So you're just all over the place then with your alts?
Yeah. I actually have to play the Paladin. Like, I have to gear it up and learn how to play a Paladin.
Is that what you're going to be playing next year as a Paladin Bison Monk?
Depends how good Paladins are, how good monks are.
Paladins are, from what I've seen in the PTR, not many people are actually bringing them to raid testing.
Well, yeah, because they're broken.
I'm gonna bring one anyway because they have amazing utility. Doesn't matter if they do crappy spread or raid healing. They don't need to. My group doesn't need to raid heal. They're getting buffed in their tank healing, which is what View Paladin says. Anything else?
All right, guys. Well, that's with your alts. We'll check in next time to see how you're doing with those. Did we get any questions for us, or even you in the chat room? If you have anything for us right now, now is a wonderful time to ask us.
I actually have a question from somebody he whispered me, who tuned in. He actually wanted to know like how this entire thing started and all that.
The podcast?
The podcast, how we all met. So, do you want to explain that, Vero? Because
which part first? How we all met, or
how we all met? I would start from the very beginning. It's a very good place to start.
In the beginning, there was Ghostcrawler. Just kidding.
That was good. We all met on the healing forums through mainly the off-topic thread, and someone mentioned something about creating a website external from the forums where people could go and talk more openly and make a chat room. And since I was a graphic web designer and was new to the forums, I was like, hey, I could make one. And everyone was like, okay. So I made one, and then we all started chatting in the chat room, and that's how we kind of all became friends. And then several months ago, I started getting really into podcasts, and I noticed there weren't really many healing ones. And I brought it up to these lovely folks and was like, hey, I think a healing podcast would be fun. Would anybody be interested? And everyone was like, totally, let's do it. So
I'd
we
like
did.
to point out it wasn't that easy to get started.
Oh, yeah.
I had to bug Vero for a couple of months.
Well, because people kept saying they wanted to do it, and then they didn't want to do it anymore. And then so I stopped working on it because people weren't interested in it anymore, and I'm not going to waste my time.
And then I started bugging her, and then we found, well, first we had a whole bunch of people who were doing it who long since fell off the face of our, podcasting earth. So they're no longer with us. But then we started going on that we needed, certain groups or certain classes or, just more people so we could keep that roundtable feel. And we basically opened up a forum. We made an announcement that we were looking for people. And that's how Blue and, Suplift had joined.
I may or may not have stalked Morin a little bit.
A little
bit. A little bit. It was kind of weird, but not bad weird. It was just very strange.
I didn't know this.
Yeah, well, it was when I was still in CTR, and his priest is in CTR, and he just starts talking to me in guild chat one day about the podcast, and I'm like,
People watch this? What?
Yeah,
Put two and two together. Oh my gosh.
It kind of caught me off guard. It was very cool, but unexpected.
Well, it's weird for me because, there's people in our guild, Joe, who aren't, the alts of friends of ours or anything.
Yeah.
They're just people who have listened to the show and figured out that a lot of us were in this guild, so they wanted to join.
Mm-hmm.
And so
there will be... has an alt in there to some extent, or almost everyone.
Vero, do you?
Vero does. Suplift does not.
I'm just really bad at lovely.
Hates us.
But so it's gotten to the point. It's gotten to the point where there are times where I'll log on and I'll just get a whisper from some random person in our guild, just like, "Hi, Shammy," and she's like, "Who are you and how do you know me?"
Yeah, I got a whisper on my server a week or either this week or last week. I was just advertising something in trade chat, and someone said something, and then I retorted back, so it was something stupid, and then someone whispered me, and they were like, haha, and then wait a minute, are you on the podcast? Yeah. I love watching your show.
Yeah, I also ran into is that a Winnie? It is a Winnie.
Winnie appeared.
Yep.
I've also been in a dungeon while I was actually leveling my Death Knight, and this person, we started talking about favorite podcasts, and our Paladin Healer named this one. And so it's gotten really weird that people actually listen to our little show.
Your Paladin Healer might have just hated me for my comment earlier.
We're kind of a big deal on the internet.
Yeah, totally.
Shammy, does that mean I have to stop being jerks and being a jerk in dungeons and stuff so that people don't hate us?
I don't care.
I'm not a jerk. I'm just quiet and just run through dungeons and kill everything at once.
You're the
With one keg smash.
World.
What's that, Sup?
You're the funniest streamer in the world.
Why is that, Sup?
Because you rage and it's really funny.
Oh, do you laugh at how we struggle with some of those bosses, Sup?
No, I wouldn't care about that.
He just likes you raging.
Yeah, you're just funny to watch.
So, Winnie, you joined us a little late here. How are you doing this fine evening?
I was laying there and I was reading a book, and then the next thing I knew, it was 6 hours later. But I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for asking. Do we have any other questions from the chat room or any emailed to us or whatnot?
We didn't get any email. A friend asked one on Twitter.
Yeah, people, you should send us emails so that we can read them on the air.
Email, Twitter, something. So what's the question, Vero?
Oh, my phone just died. Hold on.
Was that the discuss the WHN changes? Or whatever that was? Because I don't even know what changes they are.
He's talking about Final Fantasy. Tyrael figured it out.
Well, I can't talk about that
Oh.
now, can I?
No, you
Nope.
can't. I can't either, so whatever.
Yeah,
so I'm now
friend
just going to go
asked,
cry in a corner.
Tom, if you're actually watching this, Shads, do you think the WoW style of stop and cast healing in WoW will die to healing styles like in Terra or Wildstar?
Read that again?
Do you think the WoW style of stop and cast healing in WoW will die in healing styles? I guess he's saying like it did in Terra and Wildstar.
I don't
Never played Wildstar.
think so.
I don't-
Because Ghostcrawler himself has actually said that there's too many instant casts. It's more of a PvP thing, which is why there's so many like silences and stuff. But considering that they don't actually like instants that much to where they're super prevalent in like PvP and whatnot, I don't ever see the cast time thing going away. That said, I don't know. I've never played Terra or seen Wildstar. I'm not tracking either of those personally.
Well,
Yeah.
to be honest, even though it's a stop and cast type of healing, each different healing class has a different way of healing. If that makes sense.
Well, yeah, like you have Holy Priests, which are like your freaking nuclear bomb that you let off, but then they're like spent. But you got like Resto Druids, which just stabilize the raid. You've got your Resto Shamans, which have some incredible utility and great stack healing. You got Paladins, which again, utility and amazing tank healing. And Disc Priest mitigating damage. All the healers have something to bring to the table, and they're all good in their own right, in their own niche, if your raid's set up around them. Obviously, if you set up your raid to where it works against your healers, i.e. Holy Paladin, Mistweaver Monk, and Disc Priest in 10-man normals, the Mistweaver Monk's not going to look too terribly good. May not be speaking from personal experience.
I just think
talking about... Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say I think a lot of people don't realize when they're when they're saying that WoW the style of WoW healing is dying out and all that is they're just generalizing it into one form. Because that's not the first time I've heard people say that this style of like healing is dying out.
Why did they say that?
When?
Why?
Because of the whole Disc Priest DPS to heal thing in Cataclysm.
I guess.
It's all your fault, Joe. It's all you and your Disc Priest's fault.
Hey, I've been saying we need to be nerfed for 9 months. I don't want to hear it.
That's true, you have.
I don't think Disc Priests seem to be nerfed at all. What are you on about?
Yeah.
They don't. I'm being 100% serious.
Yeah, we do. You do
In
too.
normals they might need to, but like in heroics, a Disc Priest is very helpful, but they don't really, like at least the many Disc Priests I've gone through in 2 months, our Holy Paladins outshine them every case.
Let's see. I disagree with that vehemently.
You also get people who say the things such as Disc Priests are actually the lowest of the healers. Did you know that, Joe?
That's just funny.
Yeah.
But do we have anything else from the question front, or shall we move into our announcements that we have?
Announcement time! Yay!
All right, Shammy, if you want to go ahead and kick off the announcements for us.
Okay, well, announcement number one was actually announced like last weekend, but we decided to announce it again on the show. And that's that we're actually having a contest. So the winner will probably get a Armored Bloodwing or another mount from the store, as well as a Out of Mana podcast t-shirt. from our store, which is the second announcement, is we are officially launching / opening / telling people that Alamana has a store. You can buy buttons, you can buy a tote bag, you can buy some t-shirts, you can do a whole bunch of things for it. We're going to be adding things little by little as we think of things and as Vera designs them, because she's our graphic designer. All proceeds from that show go to helping us, pay for things for the show. So for prizes, for giveaways and contests, for helping us pay for our Mumble server, helping us pay for our website hosting, all that good stuff. So if Vera wants to link it, it's OOM.
She did.
Okay.
But you can go ahead and say it for the sake of the recording.
It's oompodcast.spreadshirt.com. You can go there and check it out. I know Profits, when I was watching his stream, I think it was Wednesday or yesterday, he had linked it out, and he said he saw a few cool shirts that he had. And Milk's already bought one. I'm buying one as soon as I get a little bit of extra money.
I already
got
have
one
mine.
Mine's in the mail somewhere.
Mine's in my
Over
bedroom.
the rainbow.
So what the first the contents is create an intro for our show. The only things that the rules are all on our Facebook page. Some of the things you have to do are make sure you either say the names or show the names somewhere in the intro. Well, let me actually pull up the rules. I don't even remember the rules I wrote, and I wrote the damn thing.
Basically what it's coming down to is, unless you want to hear more of me at the start or Vera at the start, mostly me because I'm awesome, blabbing at the beginning and sounding super awkward because I can't speak properly because I don't know English.
So cheesy.
You probably should come up with something really good. And the music that I had.
You're drunk.
I am not drunk. That's the problem.
So you can find the contest on our Facebook page. Some of the rules are, entries must be between 30 and 45 seconds long. You have to list or say the names of the main hosts. We want it to be entertaining so it could actually grip people's attentions. You can't use any copyrighted material, mainly because we don't want to get in trouble, because this would be the intro we use for every podcast that we do. In order for us to win, you have to have followed us on Twitter and have liked our Facebook page. You have to include either your name or your main tune name and your both, and as well as the realm you play on the entry, just so we can give you proper credit. And this has to be submitted to us by, I'm actually extending it from what it says on the entry form, but we are going to be announcing the winners Friday, August 9th, because that will be the show after the beginning of August starts. So get your entries in on that. Email them to us at oompodcast@gmail.com. We will look at them. We will if we can't decide, we'll open it up to a vote for the community and see which one they likes best. The prize will probably be a mount from the store, as well as a podcast t-shirt, and maybe some buttons or a mug if we've come out with mugs by then. And that brings us into our third announcement, which is we are trying to do a 24-hour charity stream again because Twitch decided to be evil and crap out on us the last time we tried to do it. So mark your calendars. It starts the 26th. So it starts the 26th at 8 p.m., and that's actually one of our show days. So what we're doing is we are going to be pushing back the show from 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time to 8 p.m. We're going to be starting the charity stream out with a very laid-back, very relaxed show as we set up everything for our stream. And we are going to be just doing a stream all day until 8 p.m. the next day. So that would be the 26th and 27th. You can come hang out with us. Same thing. Let's probably do some LFRs. Maybe we'll do some raiding. Maybe we'll see if we can get two full groups. If we can get two full groups, maybe we'll see which group can get through like Mogushan Vaults or whatever the fastest.
Amnesia.
I'd have to reinstall it.
Aw.
Delete it.
If the NDA is lifted by then for Final Fantasy, if they're in open beta already, maybe we'll play some of that. We'll do some Minecraft. We'll do some. I think we'll do some Terraria. We'll do some. I think there's going to be some people playing Star Wars: The Old Republic. There will be some League of Legends. Maybe if I can get enough people, we'll play some Planet Side 2. So, we'll just have a good old time.
Iron Man D3, yay!
Team
Definitely
Fortress.
some D3, some Team Fortress. So we'll have a lot, and come spend 24 hours with us. Come just become completely insane. And then, of course, you could probably watch Joe raid the next day.
Yeah, well,
Which would be interesting.
We'll see. I don't know. I think we have somebody else out that day, so
I
we
will
may not
sub for that person just so you can raid.
Oh, it'd be Ian too, so.
I could sub in.
Alright, I'll be back in a minute.
All right. Vero, do you have any other announcements for us, or is that about the end of announcements?
I think that's the end of announcements.
All right. Well, does anybody have anything in closing they want to say? A few last-minute things.
Hey.
Go ahead, Soplith.
I'm actually gonna play my druid for this ult run. I just made a snap decision, and I'm thinking of a name, and I thought of Jenny Sups. Get it? Genesis plus Sups?
That's so bad, Sup.
I know.
Oh, Sup.
It's
I actually
kinda
saw a
funny,
guy
but
named
it's terrible.
Suplift on my server.
Dude, before I posted on the healing forums, I was the only one with the name. Now that I did, everyone has my name. I'm kind of a big deal, guys.
You're a big deal
In his
on
own
the
mind.
internet.
I have something to say.
Go ahead.
Just remember, as awesome as you are, as you think you are as a healer, just remember, you're not as awesome as the bandage spec.
There's always a disc priest to overshadow you.
Bandages. Bandages.
I take all your heals.
I just want everybody to know that the Onyxian Drake finally dropped from you this week after throwing legions of ults at it for months. And I'm talking like 7 or 8 ults per week at that dumb boss.
Hacks.
In less happy news, my level 57 Demon Hunter died on Diablo 3 on hardcore because of a power outage.
You died,
That
Diablo
stinks.
3.
That
Because he had no
sucked.
power. And now he has to start over.
Yep. But anybody else have anything they want to share, possibly? Anything at all? All right, guys. That's it for us this week then. Look forward to you all on the next podcast. Again, that will be on our charity stream, so be ready. If you have any questions at all for us, be sure to post up on the Facebooks, the Twitters, the emails for us. Vero, if you would like to link those. Several of us stream, have personal Twitters as well. The hosts will be posting those on the chat room as we go through. But I hope you all have a great week. Thanks for tuning in, and good luck with all your ventures. Say goodbye, guys.
Bye.
Goodbye, guys.
Goodbye, guys.
See ya.
Say bye,
Duke.
Suplift.
The Dooku Dome is amazing.
Shami
It
says
really
bye. I
is.
say bye for Shami. Bye.